A Course in Miracles Workbook, Lesson 30. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind.
This lesson means that God's love lives inside your mind, and because of that, you can see God's love everywhere around you. What you see on the outside comes from what is in your mind. When your mind remembers God's love, the world begins to look kinder, safer, and more peaceful.
Today, we are practicing a new way of seeing. Instead of blaming things we do not like on the outside world, we are learning to see differently.
Jesus is teaching us to extend love instead of projecting guilt. When we project guilt, we blame others for what we do not like in ourselves. But now we are learning to look within and see the love of Christ inside us. Then we extend that love to see it in everyone around us, no matter what. This shift from blaming others to sharing love and forgiveness is a key part of practicing A Course in Miracles.
We are learning to see in the world what is already in our minds and what we want to notice.
The key idea is that we see in the world what we want to believe is true. The ego makes us believe in guilt and blames others for it, so we do not see the guilt in ourselves. But the guilt stays in our minds, even if we try to push it away. Jesus teaches that we need to face this guilt and look beyond it to find the love already in our minds. The ego tells us guilt is real and makes us believe others are to blame, but this keeps us from seeing the truth. A Course in Miracles challenges us to let go of these beliefs and realize that we are wrong and love is the truth.
We are learning to connect with what we see instead of keeping it separate. That is the main difference between true vision and how we usually see.
The way we usually see is by noticing problems or pleasures outside of us and keeping them separate. Even when we try to connect with others, it is often to protect our own specialness. True vision is different. It sees everyone as the same and connected, showing that we are all one. A Course in Miracles teaches that this oneness is not about the body or brain, but the mind, which is beyond anything we can see or touch. Vision comes from understanding this connection.
Practice today's idea as often as you can. Take a moment to say it slowly to yourself, look around, and remember it applies to everything you see or could see.
Jesus reminds us to include everything in these lessons. If we see differences, we believe separation is real, but the only true reality is the thought of oneness in our minds. Everything in the world is the same because all things share the purpose of forgiveness.
Real vision is not about near or far. As you practice today's idea, think of things you cannot see right now as well as the ones you can see.
Jesus is teaching us that this idea applies to both what we see with our eyes and what we think in our minds. Real vision is not about physical things like seeing or touching, but about how we think. What we think and see are the same, and understanding this helps us feel our oneness, which comes from our minds, not our bodies. As Jesus says, minds are joined, bodies are not.
Real vision is not limited by space or distance. It does not rely on the eyes. It comes only from the mind.
Jesus is teaching us that what we see comes from our thoughts of separation, which are mistaken. True vision does not come from seeing forms, but from turning to Jesus or the Holy Spirit for help. When we separate ourselves from them, we separate from God, and everything we think or see becomes wrong. This can feel scary because it shows us we have been mistaken about everything, including ourselves and others.
To get used to this idea, spend time practicing it with your eyes closed. Think about whatever comes to mind and focus on looking inside, not outside. Today's ideas work for both.
Today's idea works for both inside and outside because everything we see comes from our thoughts. What looks like it is outside is just a reflection of what is in our minds. All our thoughts come from one of two sources, the ego or the Holy Spirit. The goal of these exercises is to help us understand this and choose the Holy Spirit instead.
God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind.